So hello and welcome to the Aintree preview podcast for Champ.ie. We haven't been with you now since the Cheltenham Festival, and I'm joined on the line this time by Alan Doyle, former analyst and developer of a new software called the Aldorythem. He'll tell us a little bit about that in a moment. How are you, Alan?
How's it going, Barry?
And also, Mr. Thomas Coyle is back with us, fresh from a trip to the Alps skiing, and racehorse trainer from Batterstown, County Meath. Good afternoon, Thomas.
Hi Barry. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How's the head after all the drinking over in Austria?
We survived. We came back intact. That was the main thing.
That's the main thing. And yeah, we'll be also joined. I caught up with Mike Vince earlier on, SAS commentator, and he's the official racetrack presenter for the Aintree Festival this week. So I caught up with Mike, and first of all, we're going to hear what Mike has to say about the Aintree Festival this week. So good evening, Mike Vince, SAS commentator and the official racetrack presenter for the entire week of the Aintree Grand National Festival. Mike, I'll come to you on the Grand National. 30 of the 69 remaining Grand National entries are Irish trained. Gordon Elliott, of course, has 13 of those. Which one of those catches your eye? And maybe as well an English, which is the best of the English?
It's an absolute minefield trying to work out the Irish if you take Tiger Roll out. But can he possibly win it again, bearing in mind how good he was when he won the cross-country at the festival? One of Gordon's that I do like as much as anything else because he's in form is Robbie Power's ride, and that is Jury Duty. And I'm fascinated that Power got off the Jessica Harrington runners to ride this, although obviously since then they had to take Sandy Mountduke out. Of the British trained runners, just a couple to mention. Ramses de Taille, I love. He's only 7. He might need another year, but I think he's got a huge opportunity. But I would be delighted if Rock the Casbah can finally get the monkey off the back of Hobbs and Johnson. Ran so well at Cheltenham back in November and has been put away as a national horse ever since. I think he's got a big chance.
Absolutely, Mike. And which horse are you most looking forward to over the entire week of Aintree, and why?
I wasn't that impressed with the novices at Cheltenham. They just didn't quite give me the sort of inspiration that some had in the past. And a horse that didn't go to Cheltenham, Warren Greatrex, is called Emitom, is an interest to me in the long-distance novice hurdle, the Grade 1 on Friday. It's a late one, I think it's the 440 race. And I think that horse could be one really for the future. And Greatrex could have a very good Aintree.
Brilliant. And I know, Mike Vince, you put up vintage clouds for Sue Smith in the Ultimate Handicap Chase on day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Is there anything of similar sort of price that you're looking at, or anything else to look out for over the week of the Aintree Festival?
The Fox Hunters is always a wonderful race because it is the one opportunity that the amateurs get to go over the fences. Sam Waley Cohen is an absolute joy to watch going over those fences. And he again has to be one of those that you would be wanting to keep your eye on the first day over those big fences. And Sam, well, he's got to have a chance certainly of winning it. I would have thought on board Road to Rome, because I didn't think he didn't get home at Cheltenham, and this is over a shorter trip in a wide open minefield of a race. But I'm also hoping very much that we might see Apple's Jade back to her best, because she is a superb mare. It just wasn't her day at Cheltenham.
Hey Mike, and best of luck for the week of Aintree. We'll catch up with you before Punchestown for more of the same, and enjoy the week. Perfect. So we're going to rattle through the Aintree Festival. First of all, we're going to go to the feature event on Saturday, Saturday the 6th of April, the Aintree Grand National. Alan, I'll come to you first on the Aintree Grand National. No, Thomas, I'll come to you first. 13 runners for Gordon Elliott. 30 of the 69 still left in the Grand National are Irish. What's your thoughts on the race this year, and I suppose the string that Elliott sends over?
Yeah, well, Gordon's main hope is Tiger Roll, obviously, and everyone knows what Tiger Roll has done. He's last year's winner. An outstanding performance in Cheltenham. Probably didn't beat much, to be fair, but he was the most visually impressive horse that won in Cheltenham.
He was, absolutely.
Yeah, of his other horses, I don't know. He's the horse that everyone's talking about out of Gordon's. That one. To me, I like two horses in it. First of all, Maldini. I think he's been lined up for this race for a long time now. Stayed away from Cheltenham. Had a nice run in the Thyestes, finished 5th. And the last day, look, I know he was odds on, but it was a 2 mile beginner's chase. He was never going to be quick enough for that. He won over 3 mile in the Cheltenham Festival. But I thought he got a lovely spin round. Sean Flanagan, who rides, got a feel of the horse. He, with the weights going up now, I think he's 10-8. So he's the right side of it. For me, he's a good. He's around 20 or 25 to 1. To me, he's a good bet.
He's never won over fences, Thomas.
Yeah, he is made true enough, but it's horses like that pop up in this race. To be fair, as well, though, but he has. It's not that doesn't bother me. He has loads of experience over fences. He was second in the 4 miler in Cheltenham last year. He's plenty. He's running Porterstowns and Fairyhouse. He was 4th or 5th in one of them. Good staying chases. I like him. Yeah. If he gets clear run, see it's a lot of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just on Maldini, I like his profile. I think the Rule of the World was the last horse, or probably the only horse to ever win the national after having not won a race over fences. Yeah. So it's a unique, it's a strange enough thing to do, to be able to win your first race over fences in a Grand National. He has had the sharpener, of course, as well, over the 2 miles at Limerick last time out. Yeah, I can definitely see your case. You fancy one of Willie's as well, I believe.
Yeah, he was second in it last year. Like, if people are fancying Tiger Roll to win the race, they have to think Pleasant Company has to have a chance. Like, another half a stride, he was up. He's £5 better off, I think, with Tiger Roll this year.
That's right.
And like, he has the same profile as going into the race last year. He ran in Thyestes. He pulled up in it last year. I think he finished 10th or 11th in it this year, and has been kept fresh. He's better, as I said, he's better off at the weights. And like, if you're back in Tiger Roll at 3 to 1, you'd have to fancy Pleasant Company around 20 to 1 to be there or thereabouts. He's got the course form.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's good solid. He's good solid bet at 20 to 1. Like,
absolutely. And just looking, well, Maldini, the runners that you've given, or sorry, the selections that you've given, Thomas, Maldini definitely is of interest to me.
Yeah, but you say, like, he hasn't won over fences, but he has run, I think it's 14 times over fences. Like, so it's not that he's only had 2 or 3 runs over fences that we're saying he hasn't won. He's actually run 14 times over fences. So yeah, he's a good handicapper at this stage,
But he was only hunted around by Patrick Mullins in the Thyestes, as you said. So he's going to come on. He's going to come on further run, and then obviously a sharpener over 2 miles. Jumping won't be an issue for him, and he's going to improve as well. Apparently, he was as big as a house that day in Gordon. Alan, I'll come to you. Your new software that you're developing. Maybe tell us a little bit about the software. It's sort of a race predictor, Alan, the Aldorythem. And what has that thrown up, and what's your own thoughts on the race?
Yeah, well, there's nothing new to it really, Barry. It's basically, looking at the factors that affect the horse's chance in a race, and everything from ground to how it's handicapped in terms of official rating and distance and age, and its form in the last few runs, trainer jockey form. And I used to put it all in a spreadsheet, and it used to take 3-4 hours a race, and it used to drive me mad, but I love doing it. So what I did was I basically wrote some code that scrapes all this information off websites and does all the sums for me.
You're a bit of a farm geek with a bit of help of a software as well. So
yes, so the more and more I look into it, the more and more I realise I don't know, and that's a good thing because you're always learning.
They're always learning, yeah.
You know, the more and more I realise that pace is so important in horse racing. So that's the next step now.
What type of results? What type of results, Alan, is it shown for the Grand National? Obviously, 40 runners are so unpredictable as well. But what's it thrown out for this?
Well, at the moment, we're not into final declarations, so it's looking at around about 68, 70 runners at the moment.
Yeah.
But surprise, surprise, our good friend Tiger Roll is sitting on top, followed by Vintage Clouds, then Walk in the Mill, One for Arthur, and Rock the Casbah. They're my top 5 at the moment.
Out of those, Alan, which ones do you fancy and why?
I just can't. I couldn't back Tiger Roll at the price. I'd rather back the field and lay Tiger Roll at that sort of price to get around in the national. It takes an awful lot of luck in running. Doesn't matter what horse you are. So I hope Tiger Roll wins, but I just couldn't back the horse at the price. I'd be going for something like Vintage Clouds. Vintage Clouds is tailor-made for this race. Sue Smith knows how to train Grand National winner, as we know. And
Trevor Hemmings in the famous silks.
It is it's written in the clouds because Sue Smith replied to me. She sent a tweet out this morning, and I replied to it, and she pressed a like. So
Alan,
it's written in the clouds.
Alan, just coming back to Vintage Clouds, second run after a wind up, and you're making a case for this horse, and your algorithm has him in your top 5. Sorry, the Aldorythem. I actually backed them myself each way on the advice of Mr. Mike Vince, who we've just heard from, for the Ultima, and he ran a great race. He was in the first 2 or 3 the whole way around. Coming to the second last, you're thinking, is he going to be absolutely swallowed up? And I never seen a horse to dig in as hard. You know, he really shouldn't have been placed. With the way they were coming to get him, he just dug in and dug in and dug in. Softer the ground will help the horse as well. So,
look, I think there's 3 key things for me in a national. If I just forget about this bit of software for a second, if we look at the trends, one is you have to be able to stay. That's a must, and you know it's easy said, but you know, if you look back at the trials, as it were, the sort of Grand National trials, those real big stay and chases, you have to have a bit of form, kind of being placed 1 to 5 in those sorts of races, and that horse that has that, as do many others as well, to be fair. The second thing for me is, I still think you have to be down the bottom quarter of the weights to carry a big weight around Aintree. 4 miles plus is it's a big ask. Not many have done it, and so I'd be looking at something at the kind of bottom quarter of those weights. And Vintage Clouds is there, and the other one at a big price would be the Young Master, around about 50 to 1. I think it's number 46 or something in the list at the moment.
Yeah, it needs about 4 to come out, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but if they do, that horse was, I think, 12 to 1 or 14 to 1 the last time it was running in the national, and it's posted its best or very near its best RPRs this year. So good form coming out of Cheltenham. You know, if you get some luck and running, I think that horse can do well around the fences as well. Interesting,
Alan, you say about, you know, you have to be carrying a lower weight. Just a bit of, I suppose, box ticking from racing profits. Some of you might recognise it on YouTube. Some of the boxes that you need to tick according to racing profits would be that you would have to carry less than 11 stone, and you'd have to be aged between 8 and 11. Price range between 7 and 16 to 1. Now, this is going back over the last 20 or so Grand National winners. Hasn't won the race before, so that rules Tiger Roll out. Can't be a grey horse, that rules your horse out.
Well, it's a bit grey and black. It's a bit of a mix.
I'm sure, listen, didn't Paul Nicholls' horse win, and he was grey. What was the name of the horse? Paul Nicholls, he won off Neptune Clonge, yeah. Proven over 3 miles, and not female. Very few mares have actually run the race. Sorry, very few mares have actually won the race. I can't remember the last one anyway. Doesn't wear blinkers, and ran 10 times over fences, and hasn't won twice this season. When I was actually picking my selections, I did take that into account. And the three I came up with was Maldini, and I've gone 1 point win on all three of them, because I just think if a horse is going to hit the frame, you might as well have him to win rather than back him to place in a race that he could fall at the first. So I think the place value in this race, it wouldn't be a win market, it wouldn't be an each way market for me, the Grand National. So I went three bets myself. Maldini for Pat Kelly. I like Thomas's logic. He will come on. There's only been one horse to ever win the National without winning over fences. And that was Rule the World. Go Conquer is a horse I like. Now, he carries plenty of weight for Nigel Twiston-Davis. Won at Doncaster last time out. He's only won once this season, so I suppose he does tick the boxes there. Tick the racing profits box. He's going to come in here off a high mark of 157. But that is plenty high. He's a big horse. He'll carry the weight, in my opinion, and I think he'll race prominent as well. He'll stay. He'll have no issues with, and he jumps very well. So I like a horse that's going to be, I suppose, in the front. He'll race prominent. Same with pair of brown eyes for Willie Mullins. I think he's the one of Mullins's Leinster National winner, and I think he might be overpriced at 25 to 1 as well. So that's my three for the race. We'll move on swiftly to the Grade 1s on the Thursday. And we'll look maybe then towards maybe one or two of the handicaps as well. The first race on the Thursday, lads, is the 2 mile 4 Manifesto Novices Chase. Alan, I want to come to you. La Bagawa is 2 to 1 favourite for the race. Taken out today, Defi de Sal. He won't race due to injury. He was impressive, of course, at Cheltenham. The Bagawa skipped the meeting. What's your thoughts on this race?
Well, I think she's a very good mare, and I think she'll be very popular on the day. I've been following her with a key trend that I've been watching over the last 4 months, and she's made me quite a few quid, to be honest. But I'd be going against her today for Thursday's race because she seems to be a winter horse. I know she's better. She seems to be better over fences than she is over hurdles. But her form is 1-1-1-7 in April, 1-1-1-7-6 in March and April, 1-1-1-1-7 in Cheltenham in March, 7 in April, 1-1-1-1. And all those ones are in the depths of winter.
Background the last day, Alan.
Yeah, and that was the 3rd of February. So bar that one, which arguably early February is still around about winter time. I'm gonna stick with this. Are
you going with the Davy Russell theory? Are you?
What's that now?
Famous Davy Russell theory at the Cheltenham Prima night up in Swords, when the days are getting longer and the weather's getting warmer, and we all know women. That one. Get a bit emotional, don't they?
That's probably it. So.
Hope Alone is not beside you there.
No, she's not.
Right, go on anyway.
Favourites don't have a good record, by the way, in this race. One of the last 10 favourites have won it. Captain Conan in 2013.
But who's the alternative? Who do you like in this one?
Was mixing it between Glen Forsa and Kalashnikov. I told you during Cheltenham Barry that I just couldn't understand that Glen Forsa form against Kalashnikov. I still don't understand it. I didn't trust it then. Don't trust it now. I go with Kalashnikov. I think the horse was unlucky in Cheltenham, and yeah, that's the one for me in this.
As well, he was brought down at a time when we didn't really know. Same, but Glen Forsa fell. It's the unknown then against La Bagawa in this particular. I'll stick with Glen Forsa. I know you don't like Glen Forsa, Thomas. you might have an alternative, or you might be against Alan. Tell us.
For me, La Bagaroy, she's done absolutely nothing wrong. Like Alan, I followed her very closely, and her form, when you mix it up with, she's beaten Lost in Translation twice, who literally was upside Steffi de Sol, going over the last, and I thought for a second he might win, but Steffi de Sol kicked on up the hill. Like, them two horses for the novice game over this trip 2.5 mile, they're the top level, and she's bet Lost in Translation twice. Now I know one day Lost in Translation actually nearly broke. Actually, he did break the second last fence in Newbury, I think. But for me, that's as solid as you can get. There's too many questions about too many horses in this race. There's too many questions. Glen Forsa, Kalashnikov, what they've beat, what they've done. Irish angle, definitely not good enough for this either. Mengley Khan was well bet in Cheltenham in third. Us and Them he's beaten nearly 15 lengths in an Arkle. She's as solid, and she lays it on the line. She goes from the front. She's uncomplicated. She put her hearts on her sleeve, and for me, I think she's good enough to win it.
I like the way she done it at Leopardstown. Her instinct was impressive. She bet them all off from the front. The horse that you liked in there for Cheltenham, Hardline, was in that field, but Kaiser Black was second. I'll take her on. Glen Forsa, still the unknown, and I do think going up to 2.5 miles will suit Glen Forsa even better than 2 miles. He was down to run in the Arc. Went off, was he 4 or 5 to 1? I think he drifted on the day for the Arc of Glen Forsa. But I'll take her on with him. I think he's a decent star, and I think he'll press her early for the lead, and she'll be lucky to get a lead in the race with him there. So might set it up for a horse staying on from behind. There's plenty of pace in the race, though, that's for sure. So as we move on to the second grade one on the day, it's the juvenile hurdle. This looks like a match bet between Band of Outlaws and the Triumph Hurdle winner, Pentland Hills. And I don't know about you lads, but I'm just confused. I can't. I love the way both of them won at Cheltenham. I can't decide which form is better. Thomas, I'll come to you first on this. Band of Outlaws, he was top weight in the Fred Winter. Soft ground. Travel like an absolute dream. Travel like a grade one horse. If he was in the Triumph Hurdle, he would have been bang there, in my opinion.
Definitely. And even he got switched coming to the last, and it still didn't matter. JJ had loads of horse, and it was only a matter of time. He looked very good, and as you said, it's hard to compare both. Gordon's horse was second to him, Course Sublime, who he probably would have won in Leopardstown. Course Sublime, he fell at the last when Cooper rode him, so that was a grade one. To be fair, they were well clear, the two. As you say, it's very tough to know which was better, but it'll be a match race, I think, and I think it'll be a hell of a race, to be fair. Well,
first instinct, listen, Sir Eric broke down and was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
To see it in the Triumph Hurdle, like how good is this Triumph Hurdle form? That's what we don't know. Pentland Hills come in off one run in Ludlow. You won't believe me, lads, but I backed him each way. wasn't a massive, I had no real strong opinion in the race, and
saved your Cheltenham, didn't it, Barry? Go on, tell the truth.
That was a desperate Cheltenham for me. I hadn't. Anyway, Pentland Hills, Course Sublime.
He wouldn't have been very fancy. He was 16 or 20 to 1, wasn't he, when he won it?
He was 20 to 1, and
so it's not. He did spring a surprise, so.
I'll put it to you this way: I had no opinion on the race, and I was talked into backing him. And I was all smiles, and he coming up the hill. He travelled well. Now he was off the bridle for a stride or two down the back. The conditions were poor both days, but for Triumph Hurdle and Fred Winter, there were bad conditions on both days. Classical Dreams win at Cheltenham. For me, it was the most impressive victory of the whole meeting. I thought he was all right. Yeah, I thought he was. He looked a bit special. Factor Duderie, If you look back at that race, he was staying on into fourth, so I wouldn't totally rule him out. Lads, I'm going to ask you to call this race anyway. Thomas, your selection for the 4-year-old Grade 1.
I'm going to go with Joseph's. Just that Joseph will have a fair guideline because wasn't his horse Gardens of Babylon? He was third in the Triumph, so he's got a fair marker there to know. I'll stay loyal to the Irish in this. I'll go with Band of Outlaws.
Alan?
I think it's between Band of Outlaws and Fakir Dudery. I don't think Pentland Hills will win it, only because 11 of the last 12 runnings, the winners have had at least three runs over hurdles. Pentland Hills only has 2, so I'm knocking that horse out for that reason. So between Band of Outlaws and Fakir Dudery. At the prices, probably go each way with Fakir Dudery at the moment.
I thought what Band of Outlaws done was as good a performance off top weight, especially in a handicap like that. I'll stick with him simply because I don't know how good the form of the third is. And there's plenty in the Fred Winter that would have held their own, or at least ran to a level of some of the horses in the Triumph Hurdle. I go with Band of Outlaws for this. Lads, we're going to come on to the Aintree Hurdle. This is why I'm wearing the scarf, lads. He's coming back. The machine. Alan, I'll come to you. Apple's Jade. She disappointed. She's been taken out of this race. And she's going to go now for the stairs race. Gordon has nailed his colours to the matter. Hoover there. He's odds on now at this stage with Betxs, 10 to 11. Is he a worthy favourite? Like, do we know much about him for the last day? Like, what sort of level is he at?
Worthy favourite. I think he is. Didn't he win this last year? You know, head and heart. This one is. I was a bit disappointed with Apple's Jade going out, to be honest with you, because I would have fancied Apple's Jade for this. I think Aintree is the type of track that she'd relish.
Yeah. Has done.
I think, yeah, and you know the track is the type that I love looking at the course guides on at the races, and Mick Pitts always talks about how best to ride. In Aintree, it's all about a horse that will travel on the bridle coming around the turn, and I think you've got 2 horses there in Faugheen and Boover there will travel very well through the race, but in terms of head and heart, my heart says I want Faugheen to win. I just don't think at 11 years of age the horse will win an Aintree hurdle. And I can't really look at Mellon and Super Sunday as real threats to Boover there. So yeah, can put in the odd very poor jump as we saw in Cheltenham when he kind of guessed at it. But I think Boover there is the most likely winner. I wouldn't be backing it myself though.
Just have the suspicion that he's not the same horse, Boover there, as we would have seen over the last couple of seasons. I know he wasn't right at Cheltenham last year. I know he was a sick horse then. Just this season, there's just something getting beaten by Verdana Blue at Christmas at Kempton. Listen, when he come out early this season, and he beat Sam Crow up a stick, and I know Sam Crow himself hasn't been right. It's just visually that day.
Yeah, but what's Faugheen beaten this season?
What's this season?
Yeah.
I thought he looked like
more questions than Boover there, I'd say, at this stage.
The last day at Cheltenham against Paisley Park, who a lot of people gave a lot of stick to, he was the winner turning in. Now that's that's obviously not 3 miles. It's to it's for the majority turning in that day. He was the winner. A drop back and trip for me to 2 mile 4 is going to suit him. It's probably his ideal distance at this stage. People are saying that he's an out and out stayer. I think Faugheen will go from the front here, and I think if you look at
you're right there.
He is the pace. He is going to be the pace, and I think I think it's going to be pillar to post. I don't, like Bouvier to me, might struggle to catch him. And there is going to be a small bit of dig in the ground. It will suit Faheen as much as I suppose it will suit Hoover there. Mellon, for me, just looking down to the card, Mellon, he's beaten 15 lengths by a champion hurdle winner that I'm yet to. Well, I'm not overly convinced of the form of the champion hurdle. It fell apart completely. So I'm not reading too much into his form. Chitabello was obviously impressive as well at Cheltenham. So could you really rule him out? For the Skelton team, for me, it's going to be Faheen from the front, and I think he's in cracking form. He ran an absolute cracker. It's very hard to win over 3 miles over hurdles at Cheltenham. He ran a belter back in trip. Thomas, would you be with Faheen or against him?
I would love to see him win. I'd love to see him have one more big day in the sun. This definitely could be it. It's weak enough, to be fair. Okay, Bouvier, but there, as you said, there is questions about him now. Plus, he took a bit of a good tumble in Cheltenham as well. Like it's only, how long ago was Cheltenham? 3-4 weeks ago.
Here, listen, Thomas, just I could just cut across you just for one moment. By the way, it's at the prices. It's not. I'm not sitting here and saying Faheen is 100%. It's at the prices.
Oh no.
He's 11-2 now. Of course, Billy the Joe has been taken out of the race as well. She was in it for Willie as well. She would liked the faster ground. Faheen is a ridiculous price in my opinion at 11-2, especially after his third in the stairs. Like that's just I think it's ridiculous.
No, I agree. Especially like you couldn't back Bouvier at odds on. No, not as you said exactly what I was thinking with his run at Kempton at Christmas, the fall the last time. There's too many questions. Like Faheen as well, he's getting on as well. There's one horse, and I think, as you were saying, Faheen's probably. I think Super Sunday. This is his trip for me. He's enough class to run in Irish champion hurdles over 2 mile, and to me, he I know he was second in the stayers before, but to me, he doesn't stay 3 mile, and I think this is his trip as well. And there is a big race in that horse. To me, there always has been a big race in that horse. He, to be fair, he travelled well till the turning and just didn't get home. For me, it's very close between Faheen and Super Sunday. But if Bouvier comes back to his best, he probably has enough class for them at this stage.
And he's saying Faheen will give him a lead to the last and away with Bouvier.
He could. If he was at his tip top, but is he at his tip top? That's the big question.
Do you think Apple's Jades should have stayed in this race, lads, or do you think they're right sending her to the one on Saturday instead?
This would have been completely ideal for her, but they must be afraid of something.
Yeah, it's just like Aintree is such a different track to Cheltenham. It's flat. It's a speed horse track. It's not like Cheltenham up and down hills and undulations. The way she won in Fairyhouse, remember, over 2.5 mile.
Yeah,
like she beat Super Sunday by 20 lengths that day. And here's me talking about I think he's going to win this race. So
I thought she could have taken them all to the sword in this race. But anyway, isn't to be.
What's going to be in the Betway Bowl, Alan?
11 of the last 12 runnings of this race were won by English trained horses. So we do need to be looking at those sorts of trends, I think. And although the Irish are coming stronger than ever these days, I actually fancied Sub Lieutenant at a massive price yesterday for a bit of a shock.
All the horses that aren't running. Tell me what's going to win it.
Kemboy. I'm going to go against the trend, and I'm going to go with Kemboy. I think Plantazobo has had, as Thomas said, Cheltenham was only 23. It'll be only 23 days away when they run. Had a tough race in the Gold Cup, whereas Kemboy came down. I think it was the first, wasn't it? Came down at the first fence. If you look back at it, I think Kembai jumped into the horse in front, and so must be coming into this race fairly fresh. And the other thing, because this race is cut up so much, I can't see where the pace is now. So, is it gonna turn out to be something like what happened when Kembai won back in was it November? And there was no pace in the race, and
he went down.
Went on and looked very impressive. So, who do you think is going to be the front runner here? Maybe Bristol de May or Elegant Escape might take it up.
Elegant Escape, if he doesn't take it up, he's no chance of winning from behind. Where's the pace going to come? I think Bristol de May is probably the one for the pace in here, Alan. When he won his Betfair Chase, it was from the front. He likes running fresh though, Bristol de May, and he did have a hard run in the Gold Cup. To me, going into the Gold Cup, sometimes I forgive a horse a run. It's the case here with Clan des Obeaux. Going into the Gold Cup, if you were to say you were getting 15-8 for Clan des Obeaux to beat the likes of Bristol de May and Kembai, I would have snapped your hand off. Just based on what he'd shown so far this season, it was always made known in the lead up to Cheltenham that maybe Cheltenham wasn't his track. Flat tracks suit him better. A little bit of dig in the ground as well. So he's going to get that here in Aintree. It is a smaller field as well, which may help him as well. He's still probably maturing. He's still only 7 as well. You must remember. Clan des Obeaux. He's come a long way this season. Bristol de May is, to me, he's always the horse that he sort of builds you up and then lets you down. Right when you get to the top, he just never seems to go through on the big days.
Hey, Doc.
Kembai, Thomas, I'll come to you on Kembai, the Irish angle. First of all, what's your thoughts on the race? And I suppose Kembai, what did you make of that race that he won over 3 miles at Leopardstown this season? It was a bit of a farce, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, but these are saying from the pace angle, like he picked it up. He picked it up from halfway and kicked on. Didn't kick on, but so he could possibly lead. For me,
he's a small horse, isn't he? Like he wouldn't.
He's not your ordinary big chasing type, all right. For me, a horse you haven't talked about yet, and I think he's going to win this race is Road to Respect. I think trip, track, ground. This is nailed on for him. They've been him and Han, like he was 4th in the Gold Cup. They said he didn't stay. He was 3rd in the Ryanair, wasn't he? But the
Ryanair behind him, Frodon was more impressive than people have given him credit for.
Yeah, but do you not remember? Road to Respect walked through the 3rd last. The one coming down the hill, he walked through it. He was still only beaten 5 or 6 lengths, 3 lengths actually in this. He walked through, but I think this is trip for a track like that, Aintree. To me, I'd love to see Sean Flanagan getting a day in the sun and a big day. And being honest, like there's too many questions about other ones. Clan des Obeaux, I couldn't have him on his Cheltenham run. Bristol de May, is he not a mudlark? No.
Well, he enjoys the soft ground as well, yeah.
Yeah, Elegant Escape wants 4 mile. I think he's slow. I seen him run in Cheltenham one day. I don't know who. I think Harry Cobden or someone was riding him. From the get-go, he was flat out.
Do you see him reversing the form of Kembai, at Leopardstown?
It is going to be a tricky race. Kembai could jump off from the front and not be caught. I really fancy him today. Just trip and track. I think it's going to be to his liking. And Noel Meade's horses still holding the form.
Yeah, no, interesting. I'm going to stick with Clan des Obeaux. I think it was too bad to be true the last day. I mean, he was 11 lengths in total behind Native River.
Yeah.
I maybe put that down to the track and the hustle and bustle at Cheltenham. Maybe he's never experienced something as grueling as that before, and on a flatter track, surface, ground to suit. I'll give him another go at 15-8, just based on the opposition here. that wraps up Thursday of the Aintree Festival. Just want to thank Thomas Coyle, racehorse trainer from Batterstown, County Meath. Thanks, Thomas, for coming on.
No bother, Barry. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to thank Alan Doyle as well of the Aldorythem. Farm Analyst. Alan, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks, Barry. It was a pleasure.
Join us for Friday.